For the Press Corps, I'm Geoffrey Jennings. We interrupt this broadcast to bring you the latest news from the Siva Valley conflict. Here in the 119th World Conquest of the Foxhole War, it's day 131. Colonials make a substantial push up the central regions, and Wardens strike into solidly green territory as half-tracks hit the field. A reminder that the Press Corps is focused on the Able Shard. Mechanized forces comprised of half-tracks have made their deployments across the front line, with more tracked vehicles on the way. This follows weeks of fighting between field machine guns and armored cars, a mix and match from both sides, giving a lot of staying power to infantry fighting, the first force multipliers, and now tracked vehicles via half-tracks. And I don't think we have any reports of APCs, maybe early deployments of APCs before their primary deployment happening very soon. Over the next several days, that we can say with aplomb. From the PressCorps Casualty Office, total combined casualties here in this report coming from day 130, the latest reports, 1.6 million total dead here in War 119. Collie casualties, 848,000, Warden, 836,000. Deadliest region, no surprise here, the Deadlands, at 214,000 combined casualties. Second deadliest region, Endless Shore, which has been locked down, so we will see how long that stays. But the total dead coming from Endless Shore, not far behind the Deadlands at 213,000, just 1,000 dead behind as of day 130. Taking a look at the map, starting in the western front, Wardens have locked down Fisherman's Row, ejecting the final colonial position at Satir Stone in the southeast. This has led to a Warden presence now in northwest Stemma Landing at the Flare, where small-scale naval skirmishes have been reported. A reminder that traveling by sea in the farthest east and farthest west borders circumnavigates you to the other side of the world map. So no matter what happens with these far east and far western regions, these water-based regions, there is still a risk coming from the other side of the map. In Fenic Coast, Wardens have managed to capture the primary Collie position of Husk Hollow, the primary position in the middle thirds of the region. This leaves Apollo's Landing and its dual safe houses as the only remaining forward positions in the middle thirds of Fenic. In King's Cage, Collies are keeping a watchful eye on the middle thirds of the region as Wardens attempt to protect their land-based flank at Slipchain. It had been captured by the Collies several weeks ago, but now the Wardens have reportedly built it up with border protection and forward bases. That's no surprise, considering they'll want to use as much of that space as possible to give them breath between the border and Slipchain and, of course, the Manacle, the central city in King's Cage. The blue push southward in King's Cage has been bottlenecked at the two bridges. Looking to the central regions, in the Lin of Mercy, the Legion has successfully moved in a counterclockwise fashion from the Prairie Bazaar through Outwitch Ranch and Rot Dust and all the way to the Long Wine in Lin's northwest. Fighting has been reported along both northwestern approaches to the central city of Ulster Falls, which lies in the center. This is a dangerous salient for both sides, as Wardens at Ulster Falls could find themselves in a pocket if the Collies continue their maneuvering. Conversely, a Warden counterattack from three neighboring regions can turn the tables and make short work of the Collie push. And speaking of the Lin of Mercy, we'll move now to a story from the Robert Loves Games Discord server, a fantastic Discord server where the where there are channels, open public channels for anyone to be able to submit their stories from Foxhole. We have a similar channel in the submissions channel, but honestly, the Robert one is great. It's extremely active, and we encourage people to continue posting in that Discord server. This story comes from Alfarius, War 119, the 22nd of November, that's the real life day there, from the colonial perspective. An attached picture comes from the, and it looks like it's the situation of the map from foxholestats.com. So at the time of this writing, it looks like the only captured town by the Collies was in the southeast at Prairie Bazaar. I am just being deployed for my first time in the front of Fort Duncan in Lin of Mercy. As I enter the combat for the bridge, the Warden were starting to use gas grenades and mortar barrages to push us back. I didn't have a mask and picked one up and a filter from a dead body. As I listened to someone needing help to repair the bunkers, I spent nearly 15 minutes there helping to repair and fortify between the barrages. After that, two enemy armored cars, so these would be Warden armored cars, started pushing towards us. We finally meet our end at the hands of some Warden. After this, I pick up a rifle, and the fight was hard. They pushed us out of the two forward bunkers as they laid siege to the relic base. I was thinking to myself, we are about to fall. Because we only had at that moment 90 shirts. The Lodie Angels came to bring us shirts, ammo, rifles, BMATs, and more than 3 armored cars came to our help. And after a few Mammon rushes, we finally pushed them back to the bridge. It was grinding and hard, but the brotherhood and moments there were the best. Again, that story coming from Alfarius, a Warden attack on Fort Duncan, and a tide-turning fight now as the Colonials at this current moment here in day 131, soon to be day 131, the Colonials now moving counterclockwise all the way to the opposite side of that region. And thanks to everyone who submits their stories in whatever Discord server or wherever out there. We also recognize that even if English isn't your first language, anyone who posts it in English is very much appreciated. Thank you. Looking back at the map, in Callahan's Passage, Cal's Pass, Colonials have set their first flag in the nominally blue region at the Latch, with current fighting reported at Syak Approach and the Procession. Syak Approach is very close to the currently blue Overlook Hill, but Syak Approach's infamous cliffs have historically made it a slog. The Collie pushes into Lin and Cal's Pass mark the high water mark of the green push so far in the war. In Maidens Veil, the Legion is close to locking down the region with the northeastern relic base of Mox, the only blue region zone left. Still, fighting is reportedly just outside Oster Wall at the moment, leaving plenty of time for both sides to consider their options on both sides of the water. In the Claustro, the Colonials have made a move in the southeast, crossing the bridge to capture Weepholm. This gives the Collies a number of options to positions south and east, but just minutes ago, give or take about 10 minutes ago, 3rd Chapter Town Base has just been reported as destroyed. No word of capture yet by either side, whether the Colonial recapture or Warden forward capture, offensive capture. This does leave Weepholm temporarily cut off at the moment, certainly to supply, so we'll keep an eye on that town's status. In Tempest Island, skipping over to a big story happening further south, but in Tempest Island, Wardens have made their way back onto the primary landmass via the Rush, and reports are coming in that the Iris town base has been destroyed again just minutes ago, even just a couple of minutes ago, and captured by the Wardens. This is a turnaround from the colonial capture of all of the four major towns in the corners of the landmass, as well as the Iris as its central position. Wardens a furious push here. This push here in the eastern front overall looking like a result of the Warden weekend, as Saturday is certainly closing its time here with us. But the Wardens, having just captured the Iris, this leaves the Collies in a precarious position to move from the south at Gale and Liar's Haven, with Liar's Haven likely being a very built-up position due to its logistics importance, or from the reef, which is technically cut off. And now on to Reaver's Pass, a big story happening here. Wardens have managed to break into this region via border base, and heavy fighting is reported at Fort Rictus in the region's northwest. Colonials reportedly at the time of this report holding at a last stand. Wardens just a few meters away from Fort Rictus, so we can only imagine the intensity of fighting happening there. This follows the Seavish lockdown of the Endless Shore region. Adding on top of all of this is the importance of the fact that this is the farthest push south the Wardens have made so far in War 119, even deeper than the protracted raid on Fort Barley and its oil cult in the Fingers. The Colonials do have a substantial amount of time to counter, but should Reaver's Pass fall, the region of Reaver's Pass, should it fall, this will also leave the entire region of the Fingers cut off. So a lot is riding on this Warden push into Reaver's Pass. Additionally, compounding all of this is the fact that Reaver's Pass is split up by waterways, various rivers and jetties and ways to get around there by water. The Wardens could easily move, assuming they captured Fort Rictus, they could easily move down southwards to Scuttletown. There is rail connection and bridges into that strip of land that goes between Reaver's Pass and Terminus for both sides to be able to move that strait, this large strait, and for both sides to be able to kind of hone in and lock it down. But it all depends on the speed at which this potential break at Fort Rictus, and whether the Wardens advance quickly southwest or if the Colonials can meet them somewhere in the middle. Again, this is all assuming Fort Rictus falls. Looking at the weather now, rain continues in the near northeast, the near central northeast, with the earliest parts of the storm system going so far as back as day 99. So this rainstorm going on for quite some time now. Just a reminder that intel coverage from structures like watchtowers may be reduced in the rain. Be on the lookout for puddles, which will accumulate mud on your person and reduce your carrying capacity. Vehicles can also accumulate mud and affect certain vehicles' ability to attach trailers. Puddles can be removed through the use of buckets or shovels, and mud stuck to clothing can be removed through swimming or avoiding puddles when moving on land. Make preparations in the event that conditions worsen. Again, that information coming from the PressCorps Weather Service. Our weather forecast would not be possible without the help of our volunteer storm chasers and the Storm Chaser Corps. If you'd like to know more about the storm chasers, visit PressCorpsGaming.com/weather. The PressCorps has opened up applications for regimental advertisements, and before I even finish that read, I do want to say that we do acknowledge that we have been seeing submissions for regimental ads come through on the Discord. We thank you for that. We acknowledge that. It does take a little bit of time to produce those advertisements. It doesn't take a lot of work. It just takes a little bit of time, and time certainly escapes us all. So just have some patience for those who submit it, and we will eventually get those on the air. We'll let you know on Discord. We'll respond on Discord when it's finally on the air. So we appreciate it. Well, that's about all the time that we have now. Plenty of action here on a Saturday North American night, or a European Sunday morning, or an Asian Sunday afternoon, I believe. But either way, plenty of action still happening. We might be very much at a nexus here, as the early phase of War 119 is beginning its end. And again, with all that escalation with the tracked vehicles, that very well may get even more heated. So stay tuned to the Press Corps, and stay tuned to Foxhole. For the Press Corps, I'm Geoffrey Jennings. Good night and good fight.
The Press Corps is an all-volunteer creative collective of reporters, broadcasters, artists, and more from the MMO video game Foxhole, developed by Siege Camp. Our mission is to engross our audience in and amplify the stories of this unique war ecosystem. The Press Corps was founded in 2018 by former Planetside 2 Radio Free Auraxis host, CaptainInArms. It is a separate community entity and is not officially representative of Siege Camp. For more information, visit our website at PressCorpsGaming.com. That's PressCorps Gaming.com.